Mr. Chairman, as I said last June, a live bighead Asian carp was discovered 6 miles from Lake Michigan, north of the locks and well past the electric barrier. This discovery shows that Asian carp, one of the world's most rampant invasive species, are at the doorstep of the Great Lakes. Weighing up to 100 pounds, spanning over 6 feet, and eating half their body weight daily, Asian carp have the ability to decimate fish populations indigenous to the Great Lakes. These giant bottom feeders would destroy the region's $7.5 billion fishing industry, as well as the 800,000 jobs that are supported by it. To prevent this catastrophe, ecological experts have said that closing the locks that separate the Illinois River from Lake Michigan is the single most important step we can take to prevent these species from entering the Great Lakes. In 2009, the Michigan Attorney General filed a petition in federal court to direct the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to immediately close the locks. This petition was supported by Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ohio, Indiana, New York, and Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, the court denied the petition. But after the court's decision, I introduced the CARP Act along with Senator Stabenow of Michigan that would immediately close the locks. And since then, despite the imminent threat of Asian carp, the administration has refused to close the locks, and all we have received is promises of studies that will take years to complete. You will surely hear arguments from those opposed to closing the locks that doing so will disrupt the movement of cargo and cause serious economic harm to the region. Economists who have examined those claims have found them to be grossly exaggerated. An economic study conducted in 2010, which I will insert in the record under general leave, found that if cargo passing through the locks had to be transported by land, it would increase truck traffic in the surrounding area by only 0.1%, or the equivalent of adding 2 additional freight trains to the over 500 leaving the region each day. Any supposed economic impact of closing the locks would pale in comparison to the multi-billion-dollar industries that would be wiped out by Asian carp. The state of Michigan's response to the administration's Asian carp framework pointed out, and I quote, "The framework statement that the Chicago lock is the nation's second busiest ignores the fact that in 2008, only 39 loaded barges carrying approximately 100,000 tons of cargo, mainly sand and gravel, moved through the lock. Moreover, according to the Corps' own data, the 2008 vessel traffic consisted of 34,000, not 50,000 vessels, mainly recreational watercraft. The canal is only 9 feet deep in some areas." You'll also hear critics claim that this amendment will tie the hands of the Corps in assisting flood emergencies. Again, those claims are not accurate. The Corps has sufficient authority to protect human life and property in the event of flooding and other disasters under the authority granted to it by the Flood Control and Coastal Emergencies Act and other Corps regulations. Those authorities allow district commanders to issue a declaration of emergency and use Corps resources to help state and local authorities respond. Opening the locks to deal with flooding is the exact type of scenario this authority is intended for. Mr. Chairman, every day of inaction puts the Great Lakes ecosystem, the largest body of fresh water in the world, and the 800,000 jobs sustained at risk. Inaction is unacceptable, and I urge all members to vote yes on this amendment, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman's time has expired.